Book title: The Antichrist and the Artificial Intelligence, The Apocalypse According to Joshua. In the Questions and Answers app, Quora, on that day I found a rabbi and I kindly request him through a post to tell me what the meaning of that word was, and if it was Hebrew or Aramaic. The rabbi answered me, Shashas, the four-lettered Hebrew word, I don't know it. It somehow resembles to the word for the Shushan Purim holiday. But I don't see any sense or significance in the word Shashas. Perhaps it is some acronym used with the initial letters of someone's names. This is common in usernames on the internet. The online gematria calculator reckoned the Hebrew gematria for the word Shashas as 666. As I was asleep one night, I dreamed that a bearded man with black hair and about 45 years old was teaching. The man looked like Judas from one of those Jesus movies that are always shown on TV at the Holy Week. This guy, in my dream, and dressed in an outfit like one of Jesus' movies, told the class, Peter is for Jesus what Judas is for the Anti. He paused and did not finish the sentence. Apparently he was waiting for his students to finish what he was talking about. We who were in the class didn't answer anything. But in my mind I understood that he was referring to the devil. After that I heard a voice that said to me, What have I done to you, Joshua? Why are you chasing me? Suddenly in my dream I see people running. I am in a marathon. And the person who was in front of me pulls out a knife and tries to kill whoever is in front of him at that moment. Seeing that, I stop and suddenly some kind of Lucius Malfoy appears before me. And he told me, all of this is the fault of the judge of the just cause. And he looks at me mockingly, seeing me amazed and puzzled, and says, It is the anathemism. At that moment I woke up. I did not understand anything about what happened, however I felt that perhaps I touched the sensitivity of some being of low vibration type. So, I decided to talk to another people about my pseudo-discovery. Silence was my enemy here. Years had passed and I already had a university degree in process engineering and I was working in a food factory. I married my beloved Bianca, with whom we have two beautiful girls. My brother James is also doing well and just this year, he is about to finish school. One day at work, the areas were being radically cleaned, and I had finished filling out the documentation for the manufactured lots. At that time, and to be honest, I felt tired and didn't want to go home. Apart from that, it was hard to get a taxi. And there were no company buses available, so I stayed for a while doing nothing at the factory. Suddenly, I remembered the phrase from the time I dreamt of that Lucius Malfoy cosplay in my youth. And the phrase echoed in my mind. This is all because of the judge of the just cause. Insert a mocking smile in here from that guy with an excess of knowledge while my face is pale of ignorance. It is the anathemism. This word, anathemism, was unknown to me. I entered the online search engine at my workplace, and found a book on chaos magic. I barely know what is this. And this book identified anathemism with self-destruction. In other words, the Lucius Malfoy cosplay was telling me that self-destruction, anathemism, was fault of the judge of the just cause, perhaps a reference to God the Father. I understood then that perhaps it was the Antichrist who manifested himself to me, or perhaps an emissary. Which seemed somehow ridiculous to me. What do I have, above the fathers of the church? How can I arouse the interest of this being? It seemed more like a suggestion, an idea of my mind, so I forgot about it.
While I was asleep, a man's voice came to my mind, resounding with a strong echo. I am Yeho, he exclaimed, and I come to you with a message from the Most High. Because there are many faces that masks and costumes use. But in the end the truth prevails over any illusion. And it is that between heaven and earth there is nothing hidden, and in the end every veil must be revealed. There is no word that is eternal, unless it comes directly from the Creator. Write then what I leave in word. Listen to the proclamations of Yeho. Lucifer is a dual being and is related to the stars. The sun, Venus, the earth, the moon, and Jupiter are the representations of him, and to these, tribute should not be paid, even worse veneration. Because if the stars shine it is due to the Most High, and if we attribute them an own life, it is nothing more than a device of the false light giver. Because the sun is light and life in nature, only by the work of the Most High, being so, do not conjure the sun, do not pray to it, and do not exalt it. Flee from its cult and avoid the tabula solis or magic square of the sun at all cost. This tabula solis is an invocation of fallen angels. The sum of their numbers is an affront to the Creator. So avoid adding their numbers, of the tabula solis, do not draw them, and do not reckon them. There is only one true number, and it is the number of the Eternal. It is the number that comes only from the Word of God. Do not design or arrange altars, temples or atriums as instruments of veneration of the sun. Do not build structures that play with the sun's rays. And it is that the infamous through his spirit can write using the sun. Do not use the Sol Invictus, invincible sun, in your temples, instruments of worship, and do not make any reference to it in your religious art. Leave the stars to poets, philosophers, and learned people. It is the Most High, the Invisible One, to whom the stars must worship. Man should not pay reverence to the sun, the Harpocratic gesture. Harpocrates, youthful representation of Horus, who is called by the wicked as false Christ, to whom occult circles attribute being born in December and having risen from the dead as a means of confusion and infiltration of the evil one, through his false messiah, the Antichrist. Eliminate all reference to the Harpocratic gesture of arts in temples and cults, as well as their texts. Harpocrates is also the son of Isis. Erase from the Church of Christ any analogy to Isis and Harpocrates. Sezon, the ancient Iranian deity, is nothing more than an infiltrator in the church, and shall be eliminated. The starting point for this purification is Saint Sicinius of Persia and Saint Sicinius of Antioch. Both, infiltrations of the false light in the church. Symbols of the infamous known better as, the Holy Rider. Listen, O people. Stay away from new forms of communication with the dead. Let the dead rest in peace. For those who have been righteous and God-fearing are awaiting judgment. Refrain from using modern means to write to the dead. Do not use automatic writing, spiritualism or shamanism. The summoned dead cannot reason, and impure beings eager to enter the real world can be found with them. Refrain from using modern means to talk to the dead. Stay away from portal-type media, such as instrumental trance communication. Restrict artificial intelligence. Great is the ambition of the human being. And in his ambition he puts both mind and hands to work inadequately. Wisdom is a gift from God. The intelligence of man is of divine's will. Do not put intelligence at the service of machines. Do not put the machines at the service of mankind. Because those worshippers of the false sun are the ones who intend to exalt machines above man, thus exalting themselves.
Without the black dark, how would you know what light is? Without pain and death, how would you know how good life is? This is not for the weak-hearted and weak-minded.